is as a nation, and it's something that we must discourage, something that has been going on for a very long time, and it is violence against women. This is what we'll be looking at today. My name is Oikeke Igado Kure.
And I am Olive Onlive.
Okay, today is very key to us as women, as daughters, as wives, as Nigerians, as human beings to start with. But before we begin to look at the issues, we'll take a short break. Olive and I will be right back. And then you would join us in the discussion. You share your experiences with proper solutions. How do we end the issue of violence against women? It's what has been going on for a very long time, and is what we don't want to continue to happen in our country. But stay with us. Please don't go away. We'll be right back.
This is your magazine radio station. Listen.
It's only today that my daughter gets just to eat food.
Past 2 months now, you be in your shop selling before you know your child will disappear.
Listen.
My own. That is what is killing us. They demolish everything. They burn all our things. Even my credential, even my children own. Up to the extent, no clothes, nothing.
Government cannot give us everything we want. And as a youth, the little you have, you can use this to establish yourself.
Given a voice to the voiceless. 101.1 FM. Listen.
You know what it's like to be overlooked and underestimated because of who you...
Welcome back. This is Human Rights Radio 101.1 FM, and the program is WCS, Women, Children and Society. Like I said earlier, today we'll be looking at issues around violence against women. 25th of November every year is International Day for the Elimination of Violence Against Women. And the 2017 theme, which is this year, is Leave No One Behind. Leave No One Behind is the theme of this year's
Yeah, and actually we are not going to leave anybody behind, whether you considered vulnerable or not. Everyone should be involved. Violence against women is a collective something. It happens to every woman, or let me just put it, if it happens to one woman, it happens to everybody. And an injury to one is an injury to all. The United Nations actually estimate that about 35% of women the world over have experienced one form of violence or the other, at some point in their life. And it's actually worrisome. It's a very worrisome situation. You find out that some women experience sexual harassment at work, and when they go back home, they still experience domestic violence. Even in schools, in places of worship where you won't expect this kind of thing to happen, even on the street, you see it happening. In fact, it's so bad that it's not a Nigerian thing. Let's start with that. It's not even an African thing. It's a global something. It has even gotten so bad in some climes that it has kind of been normalized. People see it as no big deal, and all that. In fact, you find out that a lot of times these days, the offender walks tall and free, and it's the victim that is being shamed.
Condemned.
I'm sure you remember very well the story of the controversial pastor in one of the churches that is not too far from us here in Abuja. Nobody blamed the pastor for whatever thing he did. Everybody was on the young woman who came out to say, oh, look at what happened. So I think it's something that should be stopped, no matter who is involved or where it's happening. We are not going to leave anybody behind. It's something that should be stopped because it's a form of discrimination and a violation of human rights.
Yes, it's a serious gender-based discrimination issues there. And apart from declaring this day, we also went on the streets and we spoke to some Nigerians, especially as it has to do with domestic violence. So let's hear what they have to say.
You love somebody, I don't think you mistreat the person. Every woman deserves to be loved and to be treated with love and respect. On the other side of it, it's a very wrong thing to hit a woman, especially somebody you call your wife. It's not even a matter of injuries alone. A lot of it has led to deaths.
I'm totally against domestic violence. To me, I see anybody that encourages that or that do that as inhuman. It's totally wrong and it's ungodly. So anybody that is involved in that, I don't think that person should be allowed to see the sun any longer. That person needs to be put in a jail.
Somebody when you are together for years, you carry your hand, beat her.
she cook for you, she born for you. Why do you beat her? For what? It's very wrong. The government is supposed to do something. Anybody who beat his wife, let them punish him.
Domestic violence in Nigeria, it's vice versa, in the sense that both the woman and the man must have a role to play, because biblically and the Quran also condemn beating of women.
Men are supposed to see their woman as equal mates, in as much as they cannot beat themselves when they do wrong or go wrong. We are from different backgrounds, so therefore we don't expect the opposites to be perfect, in the sense that when your woman does wrong, the duty as a man is to call her to order, correct her with love.
Olive, one of the things that I like about this interaction with some Nigerians is the fact that all of them, they spoke of men.
Yeah,
and they condemn seriously the act of violence against women.
Yeah, of course. And I think before we proceed, you should also mention this. Violence, gender-based violence can happen to anybody. You know, we do acknowledge the fact that there are instances of unreported cases of violence against men. So they should also not see this as one discrimination.
Yes, we're not leaving them behind.
But we all know that in discussing violence, women and children are always the most vulnerable. So let's all unite together, like the people who spoke with us. Let's all Nigerians, I mean the whole world, unite together. Speak in one voice. Let's condemn gender-based violence, especially as it has to do with women and children, because we know they are the most vulnerable. And let's also build a future where they will be free, you know, of the fear of violence. You know, when people grow and then they feel that violence will be meted against them simply because they are females, it's not really, you know, a good development.
One of the things that got me surprised a lot of times is that when it has to do with a wife or a girlfriend, is different, but I also know that men love their daughters very well, and they love their sisters, and they love their mothers.
Yeah, but you know, when it has to do,
but when it becomes a wife or a partner or a girlfriend, it becomes something else.
I think it has to do with the possessive, patriarchal nature of our society, and you know, and others. You know, the dominance and supremacy thing. So I think most times they just feel she should be submissive to me, or maybe I should control her, or maybe it shouldn't be seen as a big deal since she's my wife and I paid her bride price.
That means I think they're looking at the issue of submissiveness from another level.
Another angle. Of course, that is why, you know, we really need to get to that point where we begin to tell our men that, you know, the African culture, or maybe the submissiveness, the line between submissiveness and, you know, an act that tries to suppress the freedom and right of another is clearly demarcating.
Yes. So at the heart of this year's theme, leave no one behind, end violence against women, it's the imperative to support those who are particularly vulnerable. You know, violence against women and girls is one of the most widespread, persistent and devastating human rights violations in our world today. According to a report on the basis of data from 2005 to 2016, for 87 countries, it says 19% of women between the ages of 15 and 49 years of age said they had experienced physical and or sexual violence by an intimate partner in the 12 months prior to the survey. It usually happens to, it is the men, just like we said, intimate partners are the ones who do this more. And you begin to wonder, people come together because they love each other.
And then by the end of the day, to hurt each other too, you know, it's the human thing.
What is a human thing that should not be continued, all right? Yeah. We need to love each other equally, and we need to respect each other.
Respect is a mutual thing, you know. Love too is mutual. So if I love you, I expect you to love me in return. And if I respect you, you should also be, you know, respect me too. And a lot of people actually think respect is something that is gotten by force. Respect is actually earned. If you respect someone, if you love someone, the person will have no choice than to love you unconditionally in return.
You hear people saying, my wife does not respect me, or she doesn't respect me. The idea of respect is a little, I don't understand it very well. Respect means if I say sit here, you must sit here. You don't need to ask me why I should sit. Is that how to respect?
Respect means understanding.
Yes,
I actually do think understanding. And then it's reciprocal. When I respect you, I expect you to respect me in return. And then because we are not children, you actually expect that your voice will be heard sometimes. There are times when things might not really go the way you want it, because that is why we are all adults. We have our differences and that. So people should actually begin to understand that when they say something, because you are not a dummy, we are not dummies, you are expected as a human to voice your, if you have any, if you observe there is something there that you're not really comfortable with, you are expected to say it, but in a very respectful manner.
Yes, and not to say, I'm talking, you're talking, keep quiet, I can
you
slap
always
you.
for that
Yes,
word, like
that's one thing I don't like. It makes me feel like you're talking and I'm talking.
Like we don't have same blood flowing in our
veins. As if I shouldn't talk when you're talking. That it shows me that you have it at the heart of your mind that we are not equal anyway. You're superior. So, but I think it's about respect for one another. That's very key, because violence against women is a very, very serious issue, because a lot of women have gotten killed as a result of that.
Yeah, to stop violence against women, we should also stop discrimination, because you won't even meter violence against a woman if you don't consider her, a little bit, your gender different from her own. So if we must stop that, we should actually recognize the fact that we are first humans. Whether you are a Greek, whether you are an English, whether you are an African, we all have same blood flowing in our veins.
Yes, and we need to just respect each other, and that's what we have to.
Yeah,
there
should be no discrimination on the basis of anything, whether gender, color, ethnicity, and what have you.
But you can call us. Let's share our experiences together. The number is 081-8999-1055. All right, 081-8999-1011. We're looking at violence against women. 25th of November every year is marked as a day to fight against violence, especially as it has to do with women. Violence, Olive, is it all about when you slap a woman, when you beat a woman? What really is it just about the physical pain?
No, there is emotional pain. You can inflict emotional pain on someone. It's just not just about physical. It can be emotional. It can be silent torture. It can just be about anything. It can also be like I mentioned something one day, and then there is also this particular violence against women that a lot of people just wave off when they hear of it, marital rape and all that. People see it as, if I married her, there is nothing like marital rape and all that. So that is also another key instance of violence against women that a lot of people, try to ignore. And then even you find out that even in a society, some of all these things are actually allowed to fly past. A lot of people will tell you it's a family issue, it's personal, it's this and all that. And in so doing, we keep encouraging it, and it's something that should be, put a stop to.
Yeah, most times it's passed as family affairs, and I think that's why it has continued for a very long time. A situation where a man inflicts pains on the wife, and the case is reported. I mean, you go to the police station or whatever agency, and they will tell you, look, it's a family affair. You go and settle yourself.
Even in a situation where a young woman is raped, a lot of times, you hear words like, but you enjoyed it too. And it's so not right, People suffering from any form of violence should actually be encouraged, and supported, not it being discarded on the basis of you enjoyed it, or maybe it's a family affair. Even in places of worship, you also hear, but what did you do or what did you say to around that? And
especially I think when it has to do with rape.
These comments and assertions are kind of, insensitive, if I may use the word.
Yes, rape is one of the very common violent acts against women these days. You hear cases of rape all the time, and we don't know. We're even getting to the point that people are even raping children, 2 years, 3 years. That's how bad it has become. Yeah. And then when we're talking about it, you hear people saying, okay, so what did you wear when you were raped?
Yes, you understand. They will tell you, but you exposed your body, you caused it, and and all that. And then I begin to ask, Do you actually rape your daughter simply because they are putting on stuffs that are not?
Exactly.
Although now you've started hearing people sleeping with their children and all that. So these are stuffs that should not be encouraged. We shouldn't be making excuses for people.
Exactly, because by the end of the day, you're making excuses.
It's very wrong. When you tell someone you did this, that was why this happened. How many men beat their bosses at their places of work? How many men rape their bosses when there are other people around? If you can't do it when there are other people around, why will you do it when there is no one watching?
Yeah. So you can call at 081-8999-1011. Let's share ideas together. How do we end violence against women? It's very key. Women have full potentials like the men do, and they have a lot to do, especially as it has to do with family development, national development, security, and all sectors of the economy. So by the time you don't end violence against them, like I said, a lot of women have even left the whole world as a result of that.
Exactly. And when we talk of violence against women, a lot of people will just see it as, it's a women affair, they are women, so it's expected that they condemn the act. But violence against women is something that actually affects everyone. It affects the family, like you said. As a woman, you have roles you play for your family. And then let's not also take away the fact that how you treat a person, or let me just use someone's reaction or action towards other people, could be as a result of what was meted out to them earlier in the day. Like, if you mete out violence to your wife, it might in turn tell on your children. And then another thing, I keep telling people, your life should actually be a mirror for your children. Because if you allow your children to grow up in a toxic environment, if you allow them grow up, seeing you mete out some kind of violence or the other against the woman in your life, they will also grow up to be like that. And it will also in turn tell on the society and everyone that they come across.
Yeah. That's why, especially when we're dealing with our children, there's a great need to ensure that we don't do some of these things that they will grow up to think that, well, this is just the model. This is just what we should do.
I've always seen it happen, so there is no big deal. I can always do it.
Okay, so you can keep the calls coming, 081-8999-1011. What roles do we have to ensure that we end violence against women in our society? Because we can't continue to do this. By the time you perpetrate violence against women, you take the potentials that's in them. You lock them up, and then by the end of the day, the world will not be better for it. Because
that is very correct, because these days we've seen it that women contribute a lot to national development, and in every sector of the economy, and even in the development of the child, they play greater role than. This is not to say men should not play equal role with women when it comes to the child's upbringing, but we know children have this attraction, they have this bond with their mothers, so it's actually something we should discourage in its entirety. We should discourage it. We shouldn't allow it for any reason.
Yes, there are some signs that you should watch out for to ensure that your relationship, because like we said earlier, most of the violence is perpetrated by intimate partners. So there's some signs that you need to look out for, and then you know that this can lead to something else. And I keep saying you better be alive than being in a relationship.
Yeah,
you better be alive. In as much as we encourage people to stay together forever, but if you know that staying together can cost you your life, both man and the woman, you need to take the right decision.
Yeah, that is very correct.
Okay, because women are entitled to equal enjoyment and protection of all human rights and fundamental rights. Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yes, what's the name? Where are you calling from?
I'm Rosemary. I'm calling from Abuja.
Okay, go ahead, Rosemary.
I just have to contribute to the issue of rape for our young girls in the
Well done.
It's only one side. It's only one side these days. I don't know why men are going after our young girls. It's something we have to look into. I don't know what I did for them, but I will tell from ground of a very young girl of 17.
17.
That was drug.
Okay.
She was drug. She cannot even find you, but she said, yeah, if you see the person, you know the person. You know, she identity was 18. Which is bad.
Yeah.
So what type of family, how do you want us to feel? How do you want us to feel in society? And to very young age, the man took at the youth, the man that they are not put, they are many things together.
Yeah.
It's the only that she never told anyone in her family. She thought it's something she can keep.
Okay.
It's also in charge. Look, now she has a baby. How do you want us to feel?
And she probably doesn't know who the father of the baby is, right?
Oh, that's all. Your sister, she was just telling the mom that is not following like that on Facebook. You know what they work with? That is how the picture of the man on Facebook. You don't go and do that for them. That, you know, how I know she wake up. They should live our young boys to them. They are so small, you know, it's a week of 2 years, so it's so much to do with it. I don't even know what to say. Even now, the parents of the day are actually, they don't really know what to do. But they are affected, we need to try to do the home. It's not my partner, sister. I mean, I'm tired.
Yes, it is.
So what is going on in this country?
Yes, when you hear most of the stories, you really get tired and confused. You don't know what to do.
I'm tired.
Yes. Thank you, but
in this case now, she was really living in school for what? Because we just got released. They got released, and I love it when you have to buy something. But the fact of how we're collecting a gift for you, we don't know. We collected a gift from that person, but we started, when she started saying, that's enough. We don't know whether after that person on Facebook, the same way we saw the name on Facebook, it's really that purple girl, or something like that. So we don't really know after that.
Okay. Yes, it is, my sister. It's something that's highly condemnable. All right.
I don't know. What do you get looking for it to be active?
The issue of consent is very key. Thank you very much, my sister.
Everybody should go be talking to they should be careful. They should know who they are collecting drinks for. Yes. I'm telling you now. For collecting drinks and telling you guys, you collected the drink and you took another of fuel at the end of the day.
Yes. Yeah. It's very key. Thank you very much for calling.
Yeah, you're welcome.
All right, okay.
I mean, that is really a very sad one.
A
lot of things happen these days.
Yes, it is. You don't go around taking drinks from strangers.
Yes.
And even if it's possible, don't accept any ride from anybody that you don't know.
Don't accept any ride from anyone you don't know.
Don't accept any ride. Wait there and
or
get
favors,
a taxi.
General favors. You know, you get to know people before you start accepting favors from them, because sometimes they can even lure you, you know, with the promise of it could be work, it could just be anything. So young girls should, as much as possible, try not to accept favors from people they don't know very well.
Because a lot of it happens with even between people that you know. It's not only strangers anyway.
Yeah,
some people got raped by those that they know, even family members.
And then, you know, when a man or someone of the opposite sex start telling you, don't tell anyone where you're going to, or don't tell anyone I'm the one who gave you this, you should actually watch it. It's actually, you know,
a bad sign.
Yeah, a bad sign.
Right? So our young girls and even adults should know that they need to be careful.
And then even young girls, you know, these days you find out that a lot of people, there was a time I was traveling, I saw a young girl going to another state, a different state entirely, to go and visit someone he hasn't even met in person. They met on one of these social media websites. I think people should be more careful. You don't even the one you know in person can pose a harm, you know, or a big threat to you. Yes, not to talk of someone you haven't even met before.
And that's one thing that is going on very seriously now. Even when they hear a lot of negative things coming out of those kind of relationships,
they still take the risk.
Yes, they take the risk and they go. There's a great need for enlightenment of our youths, the girls especially, and children.
Then parents should always be on the lookout. Be your children's friend. Try to make them your friends, so they will be able to open up to you, whatever it is, whether it's from the neighbor next door or it's from someone far away. They will be open enough to tell you everything that is going on in their life. That is not to say you try to mortgage the little freedom they should have, but let them be open to you, tell you everything they do. You, as their father, should also be their best friend and their teacher, as their mother too, because you find out that some women actually make their children so uncomfortable that they are not even able to tell them even the smallest thing that they are supposed to know, and it's
and by the time they begin to learn themselves from the streets, from the schools,
from their friends and others, they begin to take bad advice because you didn't even tell them the difference between the good and the bad. You didn't give them the opportunity to, be able to tell you the steps they are going to be taking, so you correct them yourself. So, they take advice from their peers, and then tomorrow you start blaming them for,
Okay, you can continue to call us. The number is 081-8999-1011. We're looking at violence against women on today's edition of WCS, Women, Children, and Society. All right? So, the right to the highest attainable standard of physical and mental health is that which belongs to both men and women. Like we said, it's not until there's a physical injury that it's
violence, gender-based violence can actually, it's just any form of act that can cause physical, it could be mental, it could be sexual, hurt or injury to anyone. So it's not until you beat her and then they see the marks, because you find that a lot of times now when you go to places where women come to report instances of violence, they'll be telling you, but I didn't see any mark on your body now. So it's not until you see those marks. Those ones might actually come later, just before death.
Yes.
Yeah,
those ones, once the physical ones start coming, you should know that, look, something very bad can happen to you. But we don't, God did not create us to see the inside, our heart. So some of the wounds are right there inside. We cannot see them.
True.
So you should be mindful of the things that you say to your wife or your partner. All right, because some of those things.
And then vice versa.
And vice versa too. Okay, I seem to be on the side of women today, because we're actually talking about tomorrow, 25th of November, is marked as a day of to fight against violence. As it has to do with women. But even on this program and on Human Rights Radio, we kick against violence against men too. We don't encourage that. Everybody have the right to life.
Tomorrow, 25th, is International Day for violence against women, and the men will always tell you, when are they going to celebrate us? We only have one Father's Day that comes in, maybe once in 2 years and all that. So we celebrate our men every day.
Yes, every day. And for the women who who perpetrate some kind of violence against men, we don't support that.
We discourage it.
We discourage it completely. But you can continue to call us 081-8999-1011. How do we end it? We need to start looking at some signs, especially when we're talking about violence. To start with, how does it even start? Two people meet each other and they seem to love each other, and then they fall in love, in quote, and then they get married, and then after a short time, we begin to see fights. We begin to see injuries on their bodies. So there are some signs that you need to watch out for. First, when the man begins to complain too much about everything that you do.
When the woman begins to nag.
Yes, and the woman begins to nag.
I just want to balance the equation. Don't see it like I'm tackling you.
Yes, I know.
And then, about what you mentioned, a lot of times people pretend or they try to hide their real characters. It's not as if those things were not there before they actually came together as man and wife. But a lot of times, because for women, they want to answer Mrs. by all means, they try to hide that aspect of them. And for the men too, they just see it as, okay, maybe there is something I've not really been doing rightly, and I need to get a woman, to take care of my home or whatever they term it. So I need to change this aspect of me. But for some others too, because women are more pretentious when it comes to pre-marriage, before marriage. But the men, you still find that there are some men that still show it manifests, but the women still feel it will change. But I keep telling people, we all have habits we try to change ourselves. You know how difficult it is to change that aspect of you. If it's difficult for you to change you, how much more difficult will it be for you to change someone else?
Yes. All right. Hello.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
My name is Peter. I'm calling from Sokoto.
Okay, Peter, go ahead.
I heard you saying that it's used for ability to travel all the way to far distance to meet somebody that you really need.
That is a risk, right?
Yes,
okay.
Yes.
All right, okay. Go ahead.
But really, I need ready to do 2010.
Okay.
That lady my wife to be.
Okay.
Oh,
that's
so
good.
That's why I say it depends on the kind of people, because things have changed. I don't really know. I just wanted to go because somebody tried to talk with me. I was talking with her. We communicated. We got married. I think we have 2 kids. Yeah. So, if she really doesn't have character, that somebody has show you that woman can high character, can be pretentious. If she's having something, for the past 3 years, I have not seen anything that I will see that she's having from me. Yeah. So the thing will come of people and believe. But I pray that God will help us out.
Amen.
Yes, so I'm going to pray that treating women badly. I will just tell them to stop. There is no way. They are mothers. We have sisters. If somebody is treating our sisters like that, they will not be happy to. If something goes to the ladies that are treating their men very badly. Recently we heard that somebody killed a man, I don't know, because I don't know, and I believe to have that story. It is not good. So balance for men, for women is not good. If something goes to women, balance for men is not good, because there are some women that are beating men in their house today.
Yeah.
But generally we are discouraging the how treating women badly. So they are very helpful at first.
Thank you very much. Right?
Thank you. Yeah.
We are actually in agreement with him. We are not saying you can't meet your spouse anywhere. You can meet your wife anywhere.
Yes.
The world is not a global community. But wife, food, clothing, everything is just a click away. What we are saying is people really need to be careful. That is why we also brought in the example of Lyft, and then even neighbors, the ones you know, and all that. Now, you can meet someone on social media and then you get talking. In fact, some people will even tell you the next week that they are coming back to marry you. You just believe, right?
Yes.
You don't even know them from Adam. You haven't even seen them before. I think people, what we are saying is that people should be careful. If you are a woman and you live here in Abuja and the man lives somewhere else, why not tell him to visit? Why not meet with him first in an open space? Why not get to know him better? You can even go to the office, and all that. Why must it be you traveling hours? Women are weaker. If it's the man coming, is a different thing. That is not to say the man should also, go to a place he or he hasn't even been to before just because he wants to see a girl he met on social media. What we are saying is, be careful. If you must see that person, let it be in an open space. Get to know them very well before you start visiting them where you haven't been to before.
We need to discourage that state of desperation. There's every man for every woman.
In fact, I read a story yesterday that the lady was like, she met the guy on Facebook 2 days. I think that was 2 days ago. And then after 2 days, it was already, it was even same day that he sent her the mother's number. saying that it was the mother's birthday or something, that she speak with the mom and wish her
That's how
happy birthday. After the birthday, they kept communicating, okay, that the woman said that she'll be calling twice in a week. And then, barely 2 days after, he's already asking you to go and visit the mom in one village you've not even been to before.
Okay.
That you should go and visit the mom, get to know her very well, because you'll be coming back for Christmas, so that people will see how to start the marriage process. Marriage within 2 days, and you already believe?
Yeah, I hear this thing a lot, that if you want to get a woman, just tell her you want to marry her. And
No
then
matter
anything
the
you
age.
ask, no
matter the age.
But that's
women
not how
have
it
been
should
conditioned to feel, no matter what you want to do in life, marriage must be in the list.
So even if marriage must be in the list, but you should have your eyes opened, your ears opened, all right? And you should be wise, because if you want to get married, you must get married if you want to get married.
Yeah.
All right, because there's every man for every woman. There's
Of
every
course.
woman for every man. So you need to just be patient.
Don't compromise because you want it,
yes.
because what is yours will actually find its way to you.
Yes, and a lot of this violence happens because people just rush into relationships that they barely know about, and then before you know it, both people are thinking that this is not what I expected from her.
There are also times when you know someone for years and then they keep pretending, or maybe they've not really that particular thing that will bring out that thing in them. I've not really. So it could be you've known them for 10 years and they have a good job, and then frustration sets in, and then they are making it tell on you. So it's not by how many years you've known them, but it's not to say we in any way.
Yes, but there should be some silent things that you look at for when you see someone. Anger, you see how someone treats another person, you hear the kind of things the person says, even if it's not to you, to someone else.
Yes.
You also look at how the person treats other people.
Yeah.
You begin to think that, okay, is this how
don't
she
smile
is?
Because it's not happening to you yet.
Yes.
Because it also, after them, if they don't see any other person to meet it out to, it will soon be you.
You're there. It's you. You become the punching bag.
Yeah.
And a lot of women have lost their lives. Exactly. And, I keep saying that a man that can kill you, you should be able to have seen some signs. I was making an example of one lady that was killed by her husband the other time in Lagos. The brother came out to say, look, my sister told me that she had the feeling that this man can kill her. All right? So the man must have manifested some things or threatened her in some ways, and then she got this feeling that this man can, harm her. But she stayed until the man killed her.
Yeah, the society we live in, everyone will keep telling you, everyone will give you a reason why you must stay.
Yes.
It's either if you don't stay, you are not woman enough because you are not able to, weather the storm in your relationship together, or as a woman, you should be the one to build your home. They seem to forget that, it's a collective effort, both the man and the wife. You can't impose a willing wife on an unwilling husband. If the man is not willing to have it work, it's definitely not going to work. Some other people will still tell you, you have children, you have to stay for them. They also forget that if you die tomorrow, in fact, your children will even be exposed to more harm than you leaving them alive, or you.
Facebook marriage is really working.
Okay.
Every marriage works. Every marriage works. I'm sure she's still listening to us. Every marriage works. It just depends on the two people involved.
Yes.
No, it's where you meet
your partner
is not as
doesn't
important as how you try to build your relationship and your home. So every marriage works. There are good instances. We have good examples of people that met online that are still living peacefully, even after years and all that together. So it's not about where you meet your spouse. It's about the work both of you try to put in to ensure that it works.
Yes, and
it's not skyrocket.
Deceit on
it's
the
not
social
skyrocket.
media. Yes.
It's both of you trying to make sure you make it work.
Yes. Hello.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Mike calling from Lady Barracks.
Okay, Mike. Go ahead.
Thank you. Well, in this issue that is on ground now, you see, during the time of our parents, they were not having issues of this killing like this, or maybe a woman or a man will stab his wife or kill his wife.
Yes.
But from the period of 80s down to this period now, the modern girls we have now, they are not sincere in marriage. Look at the rate of, even close to Pape or Marabai, look at the rate of prostitute that is big on ground now. Because not that their parents are not capable of keeping them or training them. Most of them, they are in school. You go to polytechnic, even in Nasarawa, you see somebody is in school now, the parents are sent to her, but she's now so with a very old man who is older than her parents, doing rubbish. And tomorrow now, by the time she grabbed a man, in as far that habit has been in her, you will see that she can never be stable with her husband at home. If really her husband will talk, she will feel just because she has big who are rich, she will not respect her husband. The woman being in the house with her husband, chatting on Facebook with a lot of men that she's getting with him. So this kind of thing, you see, by the time a man begin to discover all this kind of thing, or a woman begin to discover those things with a man, you see that the house cannot be stable at all. So that is just my contribution.
Thank you very much. But I
also that people have been dying before now in the hands of their spouses.
Yes. But but I also want to correct one impression. There cannot be prostitution without the man.
Exactly. He mentioned the man. I was going to come to that.
Exactly.
So it's a two-way something.
It's a two-way thing. You know, if the men are not patronizing, the women will have nothing to sell. All right. So it's about the two persons, the men and the women. But thank you. All right. Thank you for your contribution.
Thanks, man.
All right. Yes.
So the fathers, the grandfathers, the husband should also please leave our daughters alone. Because he said they are always with men who are old enough to be their fathers. So please, these men should also respect their age.
Leave the girls alone. Because if the men don't go for the girls will have nothing to offer.
Why will you even be with someone who is young enough to be your daughter?
Yes. So, you know, in marriage, like it's we need a high level of fidelity. We need to respect ourselves. A lot of the issues that come with violence actually has to do with issues of infidelity, when one partner does not trust the other one again.
There should also be a level of trust. You know, he even mentioned something about Facebook. It happens. It just might not really be that particular person is cheating, but a lot of people have found friends.
Yes.
You know, with their phones, that even when you are there with them, even as your girlfriend, you are there discussing with them, they are busy, you know, chatting online. People should also know where to draw the line when it comes to, you know, we are here communicating, so why should you not recognize the fact that I'm here with you? I can lend you all the ears you need, and we can discuss anything it is that you want to discuss. Everything it is that you want to discuss. So why must you even ignore me that is right here with you and concentrate on those online friends that you are not even seeing?
Yes,
even men too do it. So, you know, he mentioned, maybe he is speaking from example, but we all know that both men and women do it. It's not a gender thing. So people should actually know where to draw the line. Because when you are with someone, you are there with the person to keep them company. Why should you also have another company online?
So we need to be careful and manage our relationships well. It will help in reducing the rate of violence that we have against each other. So we need to begin to also, from the beginning, catch our young ones young by, you know, educating our children properly in such a way that they will know that, look, you need to respect women, and you need to respect girls. You should operate like friends at an equal level. You don't need to maltreat anyone. You should respect, you know. It's very key. And then the issue of consent too. Our children need to know about consent. You don't need to force anyone into doing anything.
And you know, like I said earlier, as we wrap up, we also want to, you know, draw meat to people's ear again. Ending gender-based violence is actually ending violence against women is actually ending violence against everyone, because like I noted earlier, by the time you mete up violence to her, you become violent to her, it will in turn tell on your children and the people under them, the people they come across, and then on the society at large. So it's actually a win-win situation if we all put our hands together and advocate an end to gender-based violence.
Okay, and on that note, we end today's edition of WCS. Let's protect the lives of women and children and even the men too, but we all need each other. All right, the world cannot go out well if it's only the men or if it's only the women. We need each other, so we need to respect ourselves and we need to ensure that we are all both safe. Thank you. The program will come again same time next week, Monday. My name is Oikeke Igado Kure.
And I am Olive Woke Onokwai. Have a good day.
Bye.
It's like to be overlooked and underestimated because of who you are or what you believe in or where you come from.
With the girls of Nigeria and across Africa and all over the world, I want to say, don't